Hey guys, Jay here with Word of Advice TV, and in this video I'll be showing you how to take apart an older Whirlpool or Kenmore dryer. Because when it comes to fixing appliances, half of the battle is just taking it apart. As usual, when taking anything apart, make sure that the power is off. The first two Phillips screws that we need to take out are in front of the lint screen. You open up this little flap and take the two screws out. I like to do this while the lint screen is in. Don't take it out. That way, if you drop a screw, it's not gonna go down into the abyss. Hopefully. Hopefully the lint screen will be enough to stop it. But better yet, just don't drop the screws. Personally, I like to use a magnetic tray to make sure that I don't lose any of the screws. For the next part, you will need a putty knife, a flathead screwdriver, or your knee. On most Whirlpool or Kenmore models that look like this, there will be two clips right over here and over here that you need to depress to get this top cover to come up. So I can see one clip right here. If you're not sure where they are, just take a flashlight and shine into the crack. And I can see my little black clip right over there. All you need to do is slide your putty knife in towards the top of the crack and press in on that tab. And while you're doing that, you want to be pushing this thing towards yourself and up. Like that. If you don't have a putty knife, it's okay. You could usually get away with a flathead screwdriver as well. So I'm going to do the same exact thing on this side, except with a screwdriver. But the easiest way to do this is to simply not use any tools at all. To do the ninja method, you have to put your knee right in the middle of the dryer, or on the side, wherever you want, just to keep it in place, and then pull the top part towards yourself, and then push up in the front. Look at that. Comes right out. At this point, you can put away the knee, and pull the dryer out. Here's the locking tab up close. So basically what we are doing is pressing the front of it like this, and that releases the catch and allows the top to come up. Once you have the top open, the next thing you want to do is unplug the door switch with the help of a small flathead screwdriver. You want to jam it in between the two plugs and then just slightly twist it a little bit and pull. Voila. Next up, we need to take out two 5/16 screws, which are inside here and here. Now, you simply pull the whole front panel towards yourself. Once you see that the drum came out, you want to push it back a little bit, and then take this whole front panel and the door and just pull it up. Like that. It helps to first pull it on the right side and then the left side one at a time. And if you're pulling as hard as you can but it's not coming out, then perhaps you have some screws on the bottom that need to come out first. Some models are like that, but for the most part, it's just the two screws up on top. All right. And with this, the tip for my camera person is covered. Next up is taking the belt off of the idler pulley. And of course, taking it off is much easier than putting it back on. The best way to take the belt off the pulley is to push the drum up with your left hand, and then with your right hand, push the pulley to the right. And as you're doing that, you're going to take the belt off of the motor shaft right here. So it's going to look like this. And do remember how this comes apart, because you will have to put the belt back on. And also remember where this thing came out from too. And just a fun fact while we're here, most of the time if a dryer is squealing really loud while it's running, it's not because of the rollers, it's actually because there's a groove in the pulley wheel. So with time, if the belt is a little bit too tight, too much tension on it, or if there's some kind of grime on the pulley, it'll create a groove in the plastic, and that will make a really horrendous squeal while the dryer is running. All you have to do is replace this idler pulley and the noise should go away. Now that we have the belt off the idler pulley, we can pull up on the belt to lift the drum and then prop it up with the other hand over here. And it should slide right out. In this dryer, all we have inside of here is just the motor, the rollers, and the pulley. And one thing that I want to point out is whenever you have a lint screen that is up on top, that means that all of your thermostats, your limits, and your thermal fuse are going to be in the back of the dryer. We're going to have to take the back panel off to get to them. And also the heating element is going to be in the back. If your lint screen is in the front, if you have a dryer with the lint screen in the front, then most likely your blower motor, your blower wheel, is going to be here, along with your limits, your thermal fuses, and your thermostats. All of that is going to be in the front or inside of the dryer. Okay, and there's nothing else left to see here. If you're in the mood for cleaning, you could go ahead and vacuum this up and wipe it down. I forgot to mention this earlier, but a lot of dryers have sharp parts, and the metal edges are pretty sharp. If you swipe your hand on them, you will get cut. So if you're allergic to getting cuts, then I recommend wearing some gloves. When putting the drum back in, put in the bottom portion first and make sure it slides in between the wheel and this edge right here. And if you put it in correctly, you should be able to spin the drum pretty freely by hand, by pressing it towards the back and just spinning it like that. If it's really stiff, that means you did something incorrectly. Take it out and try putting it back in once again. If you have the dryer apart like this, right now is a good time to also inspect the belt and make sure that it's in good condition. See how it's just a little bit frayed right here? That's nothing much. But if you see a lot of that and you see cracks in the belt, then it might be a good time to replace the belt before it snaps on you. Yeah, this one's in pretty good condition. It's almost like somebody's already replaced it before. And almost on all dryers, the grooved side of the belt goes towards the drum. If you took off your belt and you don't remember how it goes back on, start by putting the grooves towards the drum. Next, let's go ahead and put the idler pulley back in. Like that. Okay, that's incorrect because it's not snapping. Oh, look at that. It's supposed to snap into the second hole pretty easily. There you go. Usually I do this without even looking. It's easier that way. But right now I am looking at it. I'm laying on the floor. The easiest way to do this is to grab a loop like this on the belt. The smooth side goes towards the pulley. The smooth side towards the pulley, not the grooved side. So make a loop and then go ahead and apply tension to the pulley. And with that loop, go around the motor, the shaft of the motor on the threads. There you go. Once you have it in, try giving the drum a spin by tilting it back towards the back and spinning it. If your belt immediately flies off, then you did something wrong. Try again. If it spins good, then job well done. By the way, I made that look easy, but the first time I ever did that, it took me like 15 minutes to put that belt back on. So if somewhere in the future you're going to be struggling with this, know that you're not alone. Next, we have to put the front panel back on, and we're going to be putting it on the same way we took it off. So the bottom part goes on first. These little hooks need to go into this hole, or this opening, and snap down. And to make this a little bit more challenging, while you're doing this, you have to lift the drum up and put it inside the door first, like that. And then you try to get that hook inside of that slot. This side's in. And this side is towards the wall, so you're just gonna have to believe me that I did it. I just cut out about a minute of bitter struggle. Oh my goodness. I cannot get that side to go in. So what I'm gonna do is actually put that side in first because that's the side I'm not seeing, and then struggle with this one where I can actually see it. Finally. Okay, we got it in. Next up, put your screws back in, and when you're doing that, all you have to do is just make sure that this metal bracket is lined up with the screw hole. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to put it in. If it's super loose, then you can take it off and clamp it down with a pair of pliers, just so it fits on there more snugly. Mine's good, so I'm going to push that in and put my screw in. Guys, guess what I've done before? On one of my dryer repair calls, it took me about an hour to fix the dryer. I had it all back together, and when all I had left to do was put the screws in, I dropped one of the screws down into the abyss. And of course, the lint screen was out. So I had to take everything apart again. That was super annoying. So when you're putting these screws in, I highly recommend having the lint screen in. Oops. See what I mean? Very nice. We're almost done. All that's left is to check out what's in the back.
There's a finger.
That's right, I almost forgot about that. Here's the missing finger. It's kind of an inside joke. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you're just gonna have to watch the dryer video where I replaced a door switch on this same dryer. But yeah, we found the missing finger. Nice. And here is what we have in the back. Our heating element is right over here. This whole piece comes off and gets replaced. We have our thermostats and limits right over here attached to the same housing. We have our blower fan behind here, but this whole thing comes off as well. This is the lint screen housing. And then the blower wheel is behind there. Right here, we have our power terminal block. One time, there was a loose wire, and when I got out there, this whole entire terminal block was crispy and crunchy. When I touched it, it just disintegrated, it fell apart. That's because loose electrical connections equals overheating. Up on top, we have our start switch along with our other selection switches and the timer over here. Most often, the timer is replaced when it stops advancing. So if you spin it and turn it on and it doesn't go click, click, click and advance, then you know that the timer needs to be replaced. Behind this metal box over here, we have the light bulb, and replacing it is very easy. The only downside is, whenever you take it out, it usually comes out in pieces. I think it just broke right there when I moved the wires. Wow. But to take this out, all you have to do is press in on these two tabs, on the two metal tabs on either side. Press in and pull out slowly. So if there's any broken glass, you're not going to cut yourself. Just kind of wiggle it. And I know my light wasn't working, so it was already burnt out, but now it's broken on top of that too. I don't have a new light bulb right now, so I'll have to replace this some other time. I have a video on the most common dryer fix, and to sum that whole entire video up into one thing, it's basically this little thermal fuse right here. Whenever this lint screen gets plugged up, this thermal fuse will overheat and blow. It's not resettable, so once this thing blows, you do have to replace it. I replace these things the most on dryers. So let's go ahead and take this whole lint screen housing out and take a look what it looks like inside. And I actually jumped the gun with these screws. I do have to take these out to get that lint screen housing out. As you can see, this thing looks incredibly dirty. In fact, it's so plugged up. Look at this. This bottom portion is pretty much half plugged up. I'm surprised that the thermal fuse didn't blow with this thing being in this condition. And look at that. That's what you call good airflow right there. There's a bunch of hair clips that are stuck in here. And no, these are not my wife's. We moved into this rental unit only a couple months ago, so this is from the previous owners. Wow, these are hard to take out. But yeah, these clips, it seems like them being in here is causing all kinds of stuff to stick to this grill even more. I know some of you may judge me for this, but I don't want to clean this up all the way. I think this is more than good enough. I've swallowed way too much dust just cleaning that. I was so impressed with the lint screen housing, I almost forgot the blower wheel. But here's the blower wheel. This is attached to the motor that's on the other side. Anyway, let's put this lint screen housing back in, and I think that about wraps it up. That is how you completely disassemble a Whirlpool dryer. I'm not going to bore you with any of the footage of how I'm cleaning this mess up or putting all the panels back in. It's just a bunch of screws. Sorry, I'm actually back. There's 2 more tips that I want to leave for anybody that cares. When you're putting this panel back on, I've done this incorrectly so many times, but the right way to do this, there's this bottom lip. You have to put that in first. So when you're putting this back panel on, by the way, keep in mind that these edges are really sharp. Tread carefully. Put this bottom lip in first before you put the vent hole in. There you go. And as long as you got that bottom lip in, all the screw holes are gonna line up really nice. If you don't, everything's gonna be lopsided. Also, before you fasten the 2 million screws in the back, make sure you check the lint screen to make sure that it's like this. Sometimes the lip on the lint screen housing is going to be over this thing right here, over the cabinet instead of under it. And of course, I've done that mistake where I put everything together, pushed it back in, just to see that this thing is up above. Sometimes you get lucky and you can actually push it back and make it snap in under there. Other times, you're taking the dryer out and you're redoing it all. Well guys, and that is all I had for you today. If you have any fun dryer stories of your own that you would like to share after watching this video, please do so in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to mash that like button on the way out, and I'll see you next time. I have a friend that has a really smart dog. The other day, I asked it, what is 2 minus 2? And believe it or not, it said nothing. Anyway, the smart dog aside, do you know how a squid goes into battle? Well armed.